Rasty McGibbon with David Kurtz, Director of Hockey Operations. How many years have we known each other?
How know we known each other?
Yeah.
Oh man,
are we 30? Are we 30 years yet?
If we're gay, we might be.
No, it wouldn't be 30.
Late 90s.
Definitely be 25. Definitely
yeah.
25.
Oh yeah, easy.
Dave and I go way back, and I've kind of stayed at the broadcasting table, and Dave has mingled and now is Director of Hockey Operations. I'm very proud of him. Dave, 86?
82. I was thinking about 82 teams.
82 teams, one spot, 10 days. How in the world do you plan this? Like did you start planning for this, during COVID or how? No, but
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And I'll tell you, the commentary I've heard, it is so seamless. People are like, man, this thing's running great. And you know what? The parents say it's running great. The students say it's running great. Even the staff of the arena says it's running great. And I don't see you guys or your staff running around with chickens with their head cut off. So we've established the fact it's running great. How did you make it run great?
Well, the funny thing is after last year when we had everybody playing basically at the same time, we had 2 days during the tournament when we had all 5 divisions playing in Boston at the same time. This is like you're taking naps during the middle because you got so much time. But to be honest, I think it was we learned a lot 2 years ago when we were here at St. Louis. I mean, the tournament went great, but there was a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we learned. We didn't know what we didn't know at a new place. So when we started having meetings, Zoom calls with the Sports Commission and Centene and Maryville, we just started off with a list and said this is what we felt really didn't work or we could make better. And I'll give credit to the staff here. They did a great job of saying, yeah, you're right, and we're gonna work on fixing that, and they did. And we brought in we opened up some internships to us local students that were looking for from Maryville that were looking for internships and things like that, and they gave them some tasks, and they've been doing a great job. And it's a good facility. It's a good relationship with the rink. I mean, if one example is the rink manager here, it was his first week on the job last time we were here. So he could barely find where the bathroom was for himself, let alone running a massive tournament. And so now 2 years in, Jeremy's been great. But yeah, I mean, it has been, and probably in all my years of ACHA tournaments, this has been so far one of the most smooth ones, at least in the first half. So knock on wood. It's
the only wood I know.
Yeah. So, but
how do you? We are. We were, and I don't use this irreverently. We were discipled by Mike Radokovich, okay, and Mike was an incredible proponent of. Next time, make it better. Mm-hmm. Make it, and I wouldn't say that he was always looking for bigger, but next time, can we make it better? Mm-hmm. And I think that he drove that into us. I think that was really a key part of his culture. He encouraged us to dream. So, when you look at the last 3 years, what are some things that you've seen at this national tournament level that you think are ways that we've bettered ourselves?
Well, I think you see the fan experience. We've been to national, we've been to playing nationals since started all those years ago in Columbus when people started to come together, and that was a big step when we brought everyone to the same town. But we looked at it and we said, that's great, but we were doing basically 5 tournaments in 5 different locations, and so it was great. We were all in the same town, but there was no interaction.
Right.
And so when we said we're going to come together in a single building, I think it brought the fans together. You see fans moving from one game to another. You see multiple teams with multiple programs. Their teams are going and supporting the other teams, and it creates a better fan. You see the women
supporting men and vice versa.
Yeah. A perfect example was Calvin's M1 team was playing on the USA rink in the late afternoon, and their men's D3 team was playing the last game of the evening in NHL. That Calvin team took a hard loss. Their M1 team took Adrian. And it'd be really easy to just get on the bus and go home, but they got in there, they got cleaned up, they got their suits on, they came over and they were cheering for their guys, and it made an electric environment. I think partnering with the Blues has been a great opportunity in this area. They've been very supportive. I think that's been a big step, is seeing kind of the involvement of other entities outside of the rink that want to be part of the ACHA experience here. And I think that's where we've really seen the growth in positivity, is just the other organizations that want to be part of it.
You know, so far in terms of playing, as we've seen some M2 teams come in today, but M1 and M3, you know, being M2 guys from way back, how awesome is it that with the expansion of Men's Division 1 from 20 to 24 teams, and the fact that out of the field of 16 in M3, 4 of those 16 were first-time participants in a national tournament, with Colby, Central Maine, St. Vincent, and Sacred Heart. I can't believe I can remember all 4 of those. But how awesome, as the director of hockey operations, is it for you that we're getting new blood into this?
Oh, I love it. There is nothing that I love more, and I'll sit in and kind of on check-in day and stuff like that. There's nothing more exciting for me than watching a team walk in for the first time.
What is it like? Like, what do you see in that? You know, I was telling someone a story, and this is going to be the 3rd time I've told this, okay, but it's brief. I think 2 summers ago, I had the chance to take my son, back when we were in Canada for the summertime, to a Toronto Blue Jays game, all right? And, you know, this is a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, and we're kind of walking out the tunnel, and, you know, we're sitting in the nosebleeds, and just walk him out and just, like, see this massive, you know, dome stadium. And, you know, a kid's never been anything that size before, and at 5 years old, you know, it's monstrous. It's bigger than life. What have you seen in these guys that have just shown up and first time?
Well, you know, they get off the bus and they realize it's not just walking into another rink. Like, you know, you go in, you walk down the hall of all the banners. You see all these teams that have won championships over the years. You walk in, you know, you see the credentials. You know, you get your credential and you're there. You're part of it. You're having this conversation. You practice. I mean, how many of these guys have what we would consider a pre-game practice, like a pre-day skate?
And some of them even got to do it on an outside rink, which is super cool.
Which is super cool.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you know it's different. And then when those guys, when you look at them, like I'll walk by, like when they're waiting to get out, not as much for the warm up, but like before they step out on the ice before that first game. And I mean, you can tell like the energy is so pumping. It's like they can't stand. Yeah, you can't stand still while you're waiting for that go from the referee to step out onto the ice. And I mean, that makes it exciting. And to be honest, for us, that makes it great. I mean, we love seeing the people we know. You know, we build friendships, relationships, but to see guys like, especially like a St. Vincent, who really, to be honest, was a program that was good back years ago, and they really took a downward turn. But to see them rebound over the years and now make it back, I mean, the sky's the limit for them, and that's exciting because the more competition, more challenges, and again, we're excited to see the teams that are coming in for M2 for the first time.
Now, as the director of hockey operations, we have kind of an interesting scenario in that I was talking to coach of Keene today, Bobby Rodriguez. Hadn't seen Bobby since before COVID. Bobby, at their school, they are going to be able to make the jump with the addition of a NCAA Men's Division 3, but they are going to maintain an ACHA Division 2. What do you think that does for the entire USA hockey community? I don't mean USA hockey, but the American hockey community in the United States.
Well, I think some of our biggest advocates in the world of hockey as a whole have been the ACHA coaches that have found places in juniors, in minor league, or you know, the AHL, ECHL, and the NCAA. Things we have it. I mean, Greg Powers is a perfect example. He's the head coach at ASU, NCAA Division I. I mean, shoot, they're playing in a rink that the Coyotes are playing at. I mean, you know, and he was an ACHA coach.
Actually, the Coyotes are playing in a rink. They play that. I know what you meant.
But he's a huge proponent, and for an NCAA Division I coach to treat the ACHA team like they matter, that program is worthy, is huge for us. We saw it with Lindenwood when they moved up. We've seen it at various other places. We're looking at with Bobby is that he's not going to let the ACHA program wither on the vine or become secondary in terms of what they need in order to succeed, because they see it, and because of that, it adds validity to us. One of the best things I heard, I was at the Northeast Regional, and Army made it to the Nationals for the first time. This is their first time. They kept falling out of regionals every year.
Men's too?
Yeah, men's too. So
Okay.
Army's team goes, and one of the first conversations, one of the first calls that they got, like the colonel, the gentleman who kind of is the liaison, was from the NCAA Division I coach at Army, congratulating them.
That's awesome.
You know, and that
Yeah.
says something right
No, it
there.
is. It is. Yeah. So let me ask you: are we entering a new growth phase for the ACHA? And I'll tell you why I ask. You know, in the last since COVID, you know, and our lifetimes are going to be defined. You know, COVID, before COVID, after COVID. You know, especially as we age, we'll be like, I don't know what year it was, but it was after COVID. Do you think that after COVID, now that we're seeing some of our top tier Division I teams playing NCAA teams, do you think now that it's a new era?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think it does for our league?
Well, I think what it does. I think, and this is not a good thing in one way. I think it's that athletic programs are. And opportunities for growth at that level are becoming harder because of finances. Colleges, schools are having trouble they're still rebuilding from COVID.
Right.
So the opportunities for growth in non-revenue sports, which they would call like, hockey, might not, you're not going to have as many scholarships. You're not going to have as many opportunities. You might fold teams. You might say, hey, look, instead of carrying 30 guys, we can only carry 25 guys, just for the cost of maintaining a team, even for an NCAA Division III. So now you have all this talent that's looking for homes. Guys want to be able to go to school and be able to have a job and play high-level hockey. I think the growth of the prospect showcases that the ACHA has been doing. More and more talent. The talent is getting better every year. And when you're going out as an ACHA school and you're playing and you're winning and you're competing against NCAA Division III and Division I teams, you're showing everyone there, and you're able to show that, look, we can compete. There's only X number of spots available at high-end like NCAA schools.
Yes.
And this way you can play, and it continues to be. We've got tons of teams coming in next year. The women's game is exploding, which we are so excited. There's going to be an info meeting here for parents. Like, it's tripled in size from the one we did in Boston. Just parents and kids wanting to find out about the ACHA on the women's side. So we're adding teams all the time. Schools are adding that have men's teams are adding women's teams and adding second teams because they have so many people. Interesting. Years ago, and if you had 80 kids come out to your tryout, you would take, like, say, 30 of them. The 50 kids they'd be done. They'd be playing men's league.
When we started, we had trouble filling a third line.
Yeah.
We couldn't even fill a third line.
And now they're like, well, instead of just letting those 50, 40, 30, 40, however many guys just drift off into nothing and play men's league or whatever, they're saying, let's start a second team.
Yeah.
And they can still play competitive hockey, and it's a memory. Like, all these kids that come here, no matter what they do, it's a memory with the guys in that locker room that they get to keep for the rest of their lives. And we have friends from the mid-'90s that we bonded with because of hockey.
Actually, some we saw yesterday. So
Yeah.
Well, we may get you back on as the tournament progresses and may get some closing thoughts as the women get here and get going. M2 is going to start tomorrow, but Dave, thanks for those thoughts.
Always, man.
Always bigger, stronger, faster.
That's right. Always good to be hanging out with one of my groomsmen at my wedding. So.
David Kurtz, Director of Hockey Operations, commenting on Nationals here, St. Louis, Missouri, 2024.